from Queenstown. Thank you so much tonight. So this is going to be around the UNDRIP and also the TKLA, that the South African government has blatantly ignored us as the first indigenous people of this country, who has been reclassified as coloureds. So to my brothers and sisters that are not coloureds, with all due respect, we are not excluding you out on this, but it's basically to notify everyone the truth that is happening in South Africa and the blatant non-compliance of the South African government. Fairy Tale Daily, thank you so much for tuning in all the way from Johannesburg. Thank you so much. I see we are currently on 17 people that have joined us. Please share this live as far as you can. We will be discussing UNDRIP, the United Nations Declarations on the Rights of the Indigenous People of this country. So the Indigenous people of this country, South Africa, are the reclassified people who is called coloured. So we are the true Indigenous people of this country, the Khoi and the San, the Bushmen and the Hottentots. So we will unravel the articles in the next couple of weeks, and we will discuss and dig deep into the articles of UNDRIP. So thank you guys for joining this live. I'm a little bit nervous, so please excuse me. It is my first live. I haven't had a live in quite a long time. I think the last time I had a live was last year, I think November or December. So this is my first live on behalf of IFNASA, the First Nation, the Indigenous First Nation Advocacy of South Africa. So thank you. I think we have 25 people. Quite a good start for 2025, my first live for this year. So continue sharing this live, please, people, as far as you can. If you're not following me yet, please do follow me as well. Thank you. We're just waiting on our guest. He will be arriving shortly. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining. YL, thank you so much for following me, as well as Tammy Jane. Where are you guys all tuning in? I see we have about 31 people that have just joined us tonight. Please let me know, where's all my guests that are viewing this live? Where are they tuning in from? Jacob Kivit, thank you so much. Good evening. How are you? We have Koi Brew. Greetings all the way from Pretoria. I see my guest has arrived. Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much. Just request Leader Danny. I will do that right now. I have accepted. All right, so we have a special guest tonight. He's almost here, almost here. Good evening, Danab Dillon, how are you?
Kankwes, Kangia. Good evening, I'm good.
Wonderful. Can you hear me?
How are you doing?
You sound quite far.
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you. Maybe I should just put in some earphones.
Okay, no problem. All right, that's awesome. So we have about 32 people that have joined us right now. Thank you so much, everyone, while we wait on Danab. Thank you so much for joining. I just want to say hi to everyone once again for tuning into the live. I'm Danny, all the way from Cape Town, South Africa. And tonight we will unravel UNDRIP. We will go into a couple of teachings for the next couple of weeks. Every Wednesday at 7 p.m. we will discuss UNDRIP and our rights as the first Indigenous people of this country. So tonight we have a special guest. This is Danab Dillon Ashley. So he will be unraveling a lot of some information, educational information. Also, he will unravel what he does as a leader in this country as serving the first Indigenous people of this land. Thank you so much. We actually have 43 people, 48 people that is on this live right now. I think it's a really good start for my first live for 2025. So thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. So again, I want to just unravel that a lot of things has been happening in South Africa, especially pertaining our rights as the First Nation people of this country. And then also there has been a few lives where we had the president of IFNASA, Anthony Williams, and he was also unraveling the discussion around the traditional Khoi and San Leadership Act of 2019 and how the South African government has blatantly ignored us as the First Nation people of this land. So many also do not know that the South African government have adopted the UNDRIP in 2007. So tonight we will go into the discussion of Article 18 and Article 19. Dylan, are you there? Is your mic all fine?
I think it should be better now.
Better now. So what I normally do is when you talk, I'll normally move you over to the main screen so that everyone can see you. Is it possible if you are able to open up your camera tonight? Did you brush your ears, everything? Beard, all touched up?
Ek is 'n boesman. Ek is 'n boesman. So ons kom soos ons is.
Okay.
Ons kom soos ons is.
Okay.
I think there we go.
Let the viewers see who you are. So I'm going to move myself to the side and I will be adding you onto the main screen. And then I'd like you to introduce yourself to the viewers in South Africa. So I think it's been a while. So I just want to see if I can move you. Okay, I've got it. There we go. So please introduce yourself to the viewers out there. We have about 61 viewers, actually a very good start for my first live for 2025. So introduce yourself to the nation. The floor is yours.
Good evening, First Nation. Titage, Danab Dillon Titage, I'm the leader with a great gift. I'm of the First Nation of Southern Africa, and I'm a descendant of Leader Danny. There's so much things that they call us now, and then there's so much things that they tell us that we are not. But once you say, but I'm a descendant of that first people, you always get some backlash, So I am the 21st century Khoi as a performer, as a musician, as an artist. And I basically live my life to represent what a descendant of the First Nation looks like in the 21st century. We have a lot going on. There's a lot of revolutions happening at this time. So in all that I do, I try to live out the examples of die oergenerasie van Suid-Afrika, and their roots, their ngoman. So blessed, that is a little bit about me. And
Thank
then
you
also
so much.
The
Is
youth
there anything
champion
else you
for
want to add?
IFNASA, and then I'm the youth champion for IFNASA as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Danab Dillon. So a lot has been happening in terms of the traditional Khoi and San Leadership Act of 2019. Tell me, as a leader in South Africa, I do believe that you also work very closely with the youth.
Yes, definitely.
Can you just elaborate more what you do pertaining?
Okay, so
at the moment, with the youth.
At the moment, there's a lot that we can do, and there's a lot that we are fighting against. For instance, we are fighting against social media, the rapid increase of what the media is presenting about us. A lot of the times, the media is presenting the in-house fights, and I've decided to deal with the psyche
Okay.
of the descendants of the Khoi and San youth, because they are being awakened to something crazy, which is called that word trauma.
Yeah.
And in this time, that word is being accentuated, it's been expounded, and it is being made a big thing about, and um, the awareness thereof can either bring something good or it can bring something bad. And sometimes people get stuck within that space and never yield. And that is where many of our elders are as well. They are still busy healing from the atrocities of getting put off their farms, getting hurt by people who we welcomed, so those things are still embedded in our youth today. So we do uh, the the language with the youth. We take music and we perform with them. We sit around a fire with them. We listen to them and hear their hearts, because the youth is advanced, unfortunately, and that is the issue that we are sitting with right now. TikTok is teaching a lot of things. Facebook's teaching a lot of things. YouTube is teaching a lot of things. Many a times it is not the right things, even though there's truth in it. There's not a complete balance of that truth. So um, for instance, in the Clan William Cedarburg area where I'm from, or the space that I assist and serve, we've recently just started communicating with the youth on a foot level, walking through the community, representing the culture, calling the youth, because there's so much that we're trying to do in many ways. We want to wait for the funding, we want to wait for all of those things. And while we are waiting, things are just going south. And
Yeah.
we then decided, okay, cool. Even if we're just going to walk and represent in our headgear or in a T-shirt that represents the First Nation, let's draw the youth in. Let's speak to them. Let's tell them who we are, and with them seeing who we are, also ignite the flame within them. It is sad though that um, they say the youth is the future of tomorrow.
Yeah.
Um, but but the descendants of the Khoi and San don't even know what tomorrow will look like, because they don't know where they come from. So, someone once said to me, the way forward is the way back. And it's funny, when people think about the way back, they always think that we're going to decrease in uh, technology, or we want to go back where we're going to run around in our skins all the time. That is not the case, but there are ancient principles that needs to be re-evaluated and reinstilled, to gain the respect and to carry that, let's say, the banner of the Khoi and San.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, as well, there's the real dance that is also happening in from Bekiesfontein. We have now had a opportunity to kind of invite the kids to come and join. Um, Normally, the real dance just shows the culture and the dancing, but it doesn't really always speak about the First Nation specifically. It speaks of an element of us being that. So kind of interlinking that as well, to have those kids doing the real dance understand where it's coming from. Um, and we are very joyful people. We love music. We love to dance. If I look at the ancient dances around the fire, going into trances and stuff like that, it was spaces of healing. We see it in the churches today as well. People go into
Yeah.
trances when they start dancing. So it is very important that, I think, South Africa adopting the UNDRIP and then looking at Article 14 and you're seeing all those 3 points there, it is quite sad, man, that our kids are not benefiting from something that we ought to be benefiting from. And
Absolutely.
I think that is the issue that we actually have with the youth today, that they don't know who they are, you know? So they are going to go look for it. They are going to try and find it because there's something in them pushing them uh, to find out, you know? It is calling. It is your heritage calling you. So, yeah, that's what I have to say for now.
Absolutely. I fully agree. And I'm actually glad you just mentioned that right now, that the South African government has not adopted, I mean, they have adopted
But
the,
not
the
implemented,
UNDRIP,
yeah.
but they haven't implemented it. And you've mentioned Article 14. And for the viewers out there that doesn't know what is Article 14 in UNDRIP, I'm just going to read it out to the viewers out there. So it states, Indigenous people have the right to establish and control the educational system and institutions providing education in their own language. And it's good you've mentioned previously in your discussion right now our languages. So many of our languages is not officially recognized in our country. And just the other day, I've asked the question, how many languages do we have as the First Nation? And I think you elaborated on that. Can you
Yeah,
just confirm how many languages do we have and what language do you speak? Because I'm still trying to learn, is it Khoi Guwap? I hope I'm not
yeah.
pronouncing it incorrectly. So that's the language I want to learn. But what are you? What language do you speak in terms of our languages as the Khoi and San?
Leader Danny, let me then put out something publicly, you know.
Yeah.
When I started my journey in around 2010, I always knew my dad was always speaking about his great grandmother that was of Nama Damara descent that came from Namibia. And one day I got to this pastor and I said, you know, I spoke about, I was telling someone the story earlier and I said, I heard him speak about the Khoi and the San, and I so much wanted to tell him about my great great grandmother, man, and my great great grand, oh, let me say my great great grandparents. And I then threw a little stone or a pebble in the water, and I was like testing. And
Yeah.
then he says, "You're not colored, man. Say's Khoi." And I'm like, "Yo, okay, cool." And we started the conversation, and then um, learning about all of the five big groupings that we currently have now. But then also as you journey and sit with the elders, you get to a point where the elders tell you that we didn't really have all these separate groupings, you know. We were
Yes.
one people, but later defined to be identified and to show the definition between the different groupings, you know.
Yes.
And then I started going into the language. Now, you know, when you want to start to learn the language, you become so proud of it. And, you know, sometimes there would be someone that mispronounces, hates a word or something, and someone would jump, no, 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 no. But you know what? I think it is, if you say koi koi guvab, I think personally it should be accepted because we are all learning the language. We are learning our mother tongue again, you know.
Yes.
It was some of our elders, their tongues were cut out. They stopped speaking the language. They were beaten when they spoke the language. So
Yes.
we need to give each other grace too, you know, as we are learning. Because some people will say we are Khoi San. That is the word by which the world is recognizing right now. So is it going to be an issue if we are representing those people, whether they're calling us Khoi San, Kwe Kwe, whatever, the same with the language? So I then went to do the course with UCT under the leadership of Danab Van Sitters,
Okay.
and it was Kwe Kwe Guvab or Koi Koi Guvab. They will always, also align it to Namaguvab, even though there are a few difference in the dialect. So the last time we spoke, myself and Dana Bradley, there was about 17 different dialects, you know,
17.
and we are predominantly right now. There's the Koraguvab, um, we have the Ngu, we have Khoi Guvab or Namaguvab. Uh, so yeah, we need to give each other grace as well as we're going to go into this, because somehow this is also going to be something beautiful.
Absolutely.
As we dive into it, learning something new, I think it might just excite us that much that we live another extra 20, 40 years, above the the limit of life.
Absolutely. I'm just reading Poplup's message right now, and she says here the TKLA Article 5 contradicts UNDRIP's Article 14, and the government must be held accountable. You're absolutely correct, Poplup, in what you're saying there. And it's not just Article 14. Now, in UNDRIP, there are actually 46 articles, and not one is implemented. Not one. So with this, I fully respect what you just said, and I fully agree with you that the youth is an important path which we need to focus on right now. And I've been also observing a couple of schools, and I'm not sure if you are working with a couple of schools or youths within the communities of Cape Town. You've mentioned Clan William, but are there schools that you are working with? Because I've noticed that there's not much of our own youth in Cape Town. There's not aware of what's currently happening and even their true identity. I know there are groups like Smooth, which is now working with the youths. I don't know if you know them, Mikhail. I think it's Etienne Davids or Etienne. I know it's Etienne that's also working with the youth in Cape Town. Are you working with youths currently, and how, if you bring this up, how do they react at you telling them they are Khoi or San? Have you ever had an experience where they like, nee man, ek is colored? You know what I'm saying? How do you
Check
how do
it.
you handle that?
Check je, ons is mense van die Cape Flats, ons is mense
Yeah.
van die northern suburbs, die southern suburbs. People here, a lot of the time, I think they are very scared because I think it's
Huh?
deeply rooted for us. It's deeply rooted. A lot of people are still sitting with the whole concept in their mind. If they say they are of the Khoi or the San, that is like kaal mense man,
Yeah.
you know. Um, and I don't think a lot of the other brothers and sisters of the Nguni or Bantu tribes understand how that sometimes is for us, to acknowledge, because um, our people were not as we were not as murdered. We were, there were so many things that we can share. I can share, and I'll tie it now in with why I'm specifically saying this, that um, even like about 100 years ago, um, some people in my bloodline, and the space within the Cederberg, Sarah Koopman was shot execution style because she was of our people. Now imagine you seeing an aunt or a mother or a sister or a daughter being killed. You are, even though this is your life, you're going to try what's best to save everybody. So that is going to sit within your DNA. It is carried over from mother to child, from dad to child. That's how he's going to
Absolutely.
walk with that. So forgive us sometimes if or when like, and specifically on the Cape Flats, if you it also depends where in the Cape Flats you go. If you go to Mitchell's Plain, at first they gaan uitgelag word, you're going to be laughed at, but once you start speaking and the word sinks in, then there's a whole different shift. But at the same time, we've taken the word colored and we've made a culture out of it.
Yes.
We've kind of made a culture, even though most of the things within how we express this culture goes, it also contradicts our ancient ones. We are also committing murder between ourselves. Unfortunately, that wasn't
Yes.
how our forefathers were. We also now have taken on a lot of other, elements of people that came to visit us. Um, but with that said, the beautiful thing of us taking the word colored and making it is that we still, like our forefathers, invited everyone to be a part of this colored community. You
Yes.
know, so that is why some of our youths will still hang on to the colored thing. But I don't see a difference in their attributes or characteristics from
Yes.
the forefathers. So yes, we do work in schools. We have,
Okay.
let me say, I'm a part of a few groups. There's one called Men Stand Tall with Dennis
Okay.
Sander. I'm a part of Koinonia with Danab Simon Witboy, Yemel Besem.
Okay.
Um, and then obviously sometimes when King Khoi and San is in Cape Town, we also move with him, you know. And
I think
so
that's where I met you at the castle.
yes, yes.
Yes. Okay.
So for me, we do sometimes we just walk in streets and we go and speak to the young ones that comes up to us. But
Mm.
I can tell you, it has been a bit more difficult when uh, and I think that is something that IFNASA will eventually deal with as well, and look at the understanding of this. But if you look at the different demographics within your upper class, your middle
Mm.
class, and your lower class classifications, to if for lack of better terms right now, um, it is more your middle class and your lower class people that is willingly, like, yo, that's my people, you know.
Mm.
It is few, and this is just what I've come across. Other people might have different experiences. But if you go to your higher class places, uh, they are not really, really open unless they know where they come from, you know?
Mm.
And sometimes as well, if you come in skins, it's a no-go, you know?
Mm.
So, so um, it is a bit obviously difficult to get to that spaces because um, like I say, many people fear that we're going to go back to riding on donkeys or horses, which is not the case. But there's a lot of fear around that when we are working with these kids.
Okay. Um, with that said, um, I do find there is a need, like myself, and there's many other of our so-called classified colored people that have now come to learn who they are
Mm.
as the Khoi and San. Now, for someone like myself or as new at finding the true identity or learning their true identity, are there any institutions that offer teachings of who we are or any of our history? I think you've mentioned something in that line the other day, but do you find any institutions like that that actually give us or offer the teachings of who we are, our languages, a little bit of our history, our culture?
Yeah, look, the para restorative justice program, which worked with UCT, was running the language course for at a time. I'm not sure. I think they've taken a break from it. I haven't heard from
Okay.
Tana Bradley regarding that for a long time. But there's something good that the Department of Cultural Affairs and Sport now has a little booklet. It is somewhere here. Oh, okay, it's close to me. I'm gonna be
Can
very
can you
sarcastic.
just show it to the screen? The viewers just have a look and see the little booklet. Okay.
Uh,
So do they offer that currently at UCT?
I'm not sure if they offer it at UCT, but they one of
Where's it?
the delegates informed me that they do now have this and that they are ready to kind of take it to spaces, but nobody has really asked them to bring it.
Okay.
And so with the Youth Day celebration in Clan William, I met them and I was like, wow, it's actually, I must say, and I'm saying it very sarcastically, not that I have issues with government really. The only issues that I have is the ones that we are talking about,
Yes.
not with them personally. But I must say they've done a little bit of a good job. Sorry, I think if I'm correct, the person that helped them with this was Uncle Pietro Dausab, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
So this is the Nama language.
Nama.
Yeah, that they have been sharing. I also know there's a few books out there on Mu that Oma Katrina has assisted with. So I also know that Pansal has material as well. I'm just not sure where they distribute it to and how they are distributing it to
Okay.
at this moment. But now that I know that the Western Cape government, especially within the Department of Cultural Affairs and Sport, right now is doing this, I think um, we can really request it to take it, like a roadshow thing. What I do realize though is that we have a bit of an issue now wanting to teach it to the youth, um, because it is something foreign as well.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
obviously when you're going to teach it now, say for instance we start at the high school level, the die eerlikheid is die mense gaan hulle te klaar lag, you know,
It's
and
very difficult. Yeah.
yeah, it's the click as well, you know. Now if we use a word like ngai or ngai, dan dink almal mos nou jare vloek sy weer. But the word ngai actually means birth, and that is where that word comes from, you know.
Wow.
And if
Wow.
you say,
Wow.
and that is the palatal click, ngai, and then you have the lateral, that is ngai, which means to sing.
Yeah.
So normally when I start these classes or when I do a performance or something, I start with those two words first because I know hulle gaan hulle klaar lag, but ons korrek ook sommer 'n paar goedes in hy woord, so they're using that word for a different purpose now as well, you
Yeah.
know. So with that said, that they are doing something good now. I think we just need to jump on the bandwagon and request these things because
Absolutely.
according to the source and the delegate, they have a lot of resources to provide. Now I know that this implementation in this booklet, as per my research, it is very new, and they've recently, the language board or for DCAS has basically also recently been shifted, and there's been a few new appointments,
Yeah.
which are now also seeing that it will be a good way forward, because there are some new faces, and
Absolutely.
yeah, hopefully we can draw them to spaces for our kids.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Danab Dillon, for joining us. I see that I just want to go back to Almarie Tice. She's mentioned as well, we need to organize cultural festivals nationally. I love the real dance. I fully agree with you. And I think that also being a part of IFNASA will also allow us to do all these things, to get out into the community, to educate our youth, even though it might sound a little bit funny at starts, like you said, that the
Right.
language. The kids might laugh, but you know what? The more we do it, they will get used to it. They will get used to it.
Mm.
So I think that will be actually a very good start for us as leaders, to do this and to get out into the community and start teaching
Mm.
our youths. So with that said, I'm not going to stay long on this live. I actually told myself 30 to 40 minutes max. I think now that we've mentioned our languages, I think next time around, I think next week, we're going to add another guest, which I'm not going to reveal any names right now. She was supposed to be on this live tonight because she actually teaches the Khoi Guwap. Am I right?
Yeah.
I'm not going to mention her name, but she does that. She teaches the Khoi Guwap. So next week we'll go dig a little bit deeper into our languages and also a little bit more on our culture. I think one thing we also need to try is to actually approach the education department and see how we can work around, getting into the schools and implementing our languages. But we'll have to see what happens in the next couple of weeks and months, especially pertaining the case of IFNASA. So for tonight, I'm going to say thank you so much, Danab Dillon, for joining me on my first live for 2025. I think we've done a very good job at discussing Article 14. I haven't gone through the entire article, but it's mainly on our teaching and learning, on our own culture and languages, which has not been implemented, even though the South African government has adopted the article of UNDRIP in 2017. So for tonight, I am going to call it a night. Thank you so much. I see we have about 35 viewers still on this live. For everyone that's on this live right now, please support IFNASA. Please support what we do in our communities. My email is ifnasa, IFNASA 2016 at gmail.com. Please email us, support us at what we do. There's amazing things coming up. So stay tuned to my lives. Every Wednesday, there will be new guests every week. Perhaps Danab Dillon can also join us in the next live. We'll see. It depends on his availability. And also Jeremiah. So have a good evening, everyone. Is there any final words that you want to say before I close this live, Danab Dillon?
I do realize, Leader Danny, that government has also been watching the many things that is going out from the Khoi and the San, So we can also expect that before we are even requesting from them, that they are going to start rolling these things out in their programs, because they're also realizing that things are heating up. Hence the reason this is starting to come out. So
just put it again to the screen. Let the viewers see that little booklet. Awesome.
Yeah, so hopefully they'll implement it. I would also advise the viewers right now, familiarize yourself with the UNDRIP. Really go through it. You will understand a bit more of your authority, your Aboriginal authority, or your inheemse authority, your First Nation status. But I also would want to say, if you claim First Nation, there's a spiritual call that comes with that in the way that you conduct yourself. It calls for humility. It calls for grace. It calls for understanding. And many people are calling for it, and they are, I'm of this people, but we are then never representing that people in the way that we are carrying, conducting ourselves. This is not a game. This is serious. It is spiritual. Africa is a spiritual country. South Africa is a spiritual, Africa is a spiritual continent. South Africa is a spiritual country. This is also where life began. And everyone is starting to confirm that we cannot play anymore if we are going to claim that we are of this people, because they are of the highest spiritual frequencies that there ever was, So it is a deep thing. And uh, that you can go look in our history. You can go look what happened. People was resurrected through the prayers of our people. They were healed. they could move rocks by clapping hands, you know. So we are actually claiming something that is super great in all realms, and therefore, if government decides to play with it, they'll have to deal with the righteous hand of our Creator,
Yes.
you know.
Yes.
So blessings from my side, Khayesa, Khaiset Khure, Khaiset Khumre, till we see each other again. Lekker slaap.
Kagangans.
I must say, Khayesa,
Thank you,
blessed.
everyone, for tuning in tonight. We will stay in touch. I will share this live. If you've missed this live, any of your friends or family, I will download this live and it will be posted on Facebook as well as YouTube. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you once again, Danab Dillon Ashley, for joining me tonight as my special guest. And we will speak again shortly. Good night, everyone.
Khaiset
Namaste.
Khure.